There are moments in life when everything becomes still and the noise that usually fills your mind fades away. The midnight of 13th and 14th of October is not just a time on the clock, it is a threshold, a silent doorway between who you have been and who you can still become. It is during this quiet hour that something begins to awaken inside you, something you thought was long lost. The strength you buried under fear, the peace you traded for chaos, the clarity you forgot existed within you. This night does not demand effort, it asks for honesty. It asks you to stop running from yourself. When the world sleeps, you are left alone with your truth, and that truth does not speak in words. It reveals itself through the feeling that something must change. At this midnight, you are being asked to remember what you have forgotten, the part of you that once believed in growth, in light, in peace. You don't have to chase it. You only have to stop resisting it, because what was lost never truly disappeared. It has only been waiting for the right silence to rise again. This night is not gentle for those who keep avoiding themselves. The silence of midnight will bring up everything you tried to bury. The regrets, the pain, the confusion, the moments when you betrayed your own spirit. But that is the point. The only way to heal is to see what has been ignored. The only way to awaken is to stop pretending that you are fine when you are not. Growth does not begin when you add something new. It begins when you remove what hides your true nature. This is what this midnight teaches. To face the mirror without fear, to meet yourself without pretending, to listen to the quiet voice that has been silenced by noise and expectations. At this hour, your mind becomes a still lake. You start to notice what is under the surface. Emotions you never processed, dreams you stopped chasing, strength you forgot you had. This is the gift of midnight. It brings darkness, yes, but not to frighten you. It brings darkness so you can finally see the light within. You are not supposed to escape this darkness. You are supposed to walk through it calmly, with awareness, with dignity. The darkness of this night holds no danger. It holds revelation. The midnight of 13th and 14th of October carries a certain energy, quiet but powerful, soft but unshakable. It whispers to you, remember who you are. Remember what you were before you began to doubt yourself. This night does not ask you to do anything extraordinary. It asks you to be present completely and fearlessly, to breathe deeply, to release control, to feel the truth of your existence, raw, simple, real. In this moment, there are no roles to play, no masks to wear, no expectations to meet. There is only you and the silent pulse of life inside you, steady and patient. You may feel discomfort. That is normal. Growth always begins in discomfort. You may feel emotions rising, thoughts clashing, a sense of restlessness. Do not run from it. Stay. The energy of this midnight will guide you if you allow it. Transformation does not happen through force, it happens through awareness. This is the teaching hidden in this hour. Awareness is the seed of change. When you become aware of what is lost, and you no longer need to search for it outside yourself, you realize it has always been here, quietly waiting for your attention. Every breath you take during this midnight is a reminder. You are alive, you are capable, and you are still becoming. What was once broken can be rebuilt. What was once silent can speak again. The person you thought you lost is still here, beneath the layers of time, disappointment, and fear. You do not have to create a new version of yourself. You only need to uncover what was hidden. Growth is not about becoming someone else. It is about returning to the essence you have always been. The midnight between 13th and 14th October is the beginning of that return. The stillness of this hour holds the power to awaken forgotten courage. It reminds you that you are not your mistakes, not your failures, not your doubts. You are the awareness behind them. Timeless, strong, awake. The moment you remember that something shifts, the heaviness inside you begins to lift. You start to breathe differently, think differently, and see differently. That is awakening. Not a sudden miracle, but a quiet realization that you were never lost to begin with. Let this midnight wash over you. Let it break what needs to be broken, heal what needs to be healed, and reveal what needs to be seen. Do not resist the silence. Do not distract yourself. Just be here. Allow the energy of this hour to realign you with your true self. You have spent enough time forgetting. Now it is time to remember. The midnight of 13th and 14th October is not about endings. It is about beginnings. The rebirth of awareness, the awakening of peace, and the quiet return of your inner strength. Something within you is waiting for this moment. The stillness of the night will touch that place and whisper, "You are home." The midnight of 13th and 14th October carries a silence that is deeper than words. It is the kind of silence that reaches into your chest and clears away the noise you didn't know was controlling you. When everything outside quiets down, the world, the thoughts, the endless doing, you begin to see what remains. That is where truth begins. That is where awareness is born. This midnight is not a time for action. It is a time for reflection. It is a time to stop running from your own presence and to finally meet yourself with full attention. In stillness, you do not need to fix anything. You simply observe. You become aware of what is, not what should be. You begin to notice how much of your life has been spent reacting, rushing to control, to plan, to achieve, and how little time has been spent in awareness. The midnight of 13th and 14th October reminds you that growth does not happen through movement alone. It happens through understanding. To sit in silence and truly see yourself is one of the most powerful forms of strength. The mind will resist this stillness at first. It will tell you that you need to do more, that quiet is a waste, that progress means constant motion. But the truth is the opposite. The more still you become, the clearer you see. The clearer you see, the wiser you act. Stillness is not the absence of progress, it is the foundation of it. The midnight teaches this by example. It does not move, yet everything transforms under its quiet watch. Shadows shift, energy changes. A new day is born without noise or chaos. This is how your inner transformation happens too, silently, steadily, without the need for display. In this midnight hour, you can feel time slowing down. Your breathing deepens. The heartbeat becomes steady. The layers of stress and confusion begin to fall away. What remains is presence, simple and pure. You are no longer pulled into the past or pushed into the future. You are here, awake in the stillness of this moment. This is where power begins. Awareness is not complicated. It is not mystical. It is simply the ability to be fully where you are without judgment, without resistance. The midnight of 13th and 14th October is an invitation to practice this awareness, to listen to the sound of your own breath, to feel the calm that rises when you stop trying to control everything. You realize that peace is not something you create, it is something you uncover by removing distraction. The stillness of this hour teaches that reflection is not weakness. It is wisdom. When you learn to sit with yourself, you begin to see patterns that were invisible before. You begin to understand why you feel restless, why you keep repeating old habits, why you struggle to find direction. Awareness gives you answers that effort alone never could. Stillness also brings healing. It allows the emotions you suppressed to surface gently, to move through you instead of staying trapped inside. The quiet of this midnight does not hide pain. It reveals it so that you can finally release it. The more you allow yourself to be still, the more you begin to realize how much peace was buried under noise. This realization is not dramatic. It is subtle. It happens like the soft unfolding of dawn after a long night. The transformation is quiet but permanent. At the midnight of 13th and 14th October, you do not have to chase light. You only have to stop running from darkness. You sit within it, breathe within it, and you begin to notice that it is not empty. It is full of awareness, full of insight, full of energy waiting to awaken. The power of this hour lies in its quiet truth. Nothing outside you can bring peace if the inside is restless. And nothing outside you can disturb you if the inside is still. Stillness does not mean passivity, it means precision. When the mind is calm, every thought becomes sharp, Every decision becomes clean. You begin to move from awareness instead of impulse. That is the difference between living reactively and living consciously. This is what the midnight of 13th and 14th of October symbolizes, the shift from chaos to clarity, from movement to meaning. If you close your eyes during this hour, you can feel how alive silence truly is. It breathes, it speaks, it teaches. In that stillness, you realize that awareness is not something to reach, it is something to remember. You were born aware, born connected, born peaceful. Life distracted you, pulled you away, filled your mind with noise. But now, in this moment, you have a chance to return. You do not need to search far. You only need to stop and listen. Let this midnight be a reminder that awareness is your natural state. When you stop trying to become something and simply observe what already is, growth happens on its own. The old falls away. The unnecessary dissolves. What remains is pure presence. The midnight of 13th and 14th October is not just another night. It is a mirror showing you what has always been there beneath the noise, the quiet power within you, the still awareness that never left. So breathe in this silence. Let it teach you. Let it reset the rhythm of your mind. Let it strip away the false urgency that has controlled your days. This is your moment to awaken through stillness, to reflect without fear, to grow without noise. The world may be asleep, but your spirit is not. This midnight is your return to awareness, your moment of alignment with the truth of your being. Calm, clear, and fully alive. The midnight of 13th and 14th October is a moment of release. It is not a time for holding on, but for letting go. This is the hour when the old begins to loosen its grip, when the weight you've been carrying starts to dissolve in silence. Letting go is not weakness. It is an act of strength. It takes power to face what you've been avoiding and to open your hands to release control and to trust the process of change. This midnight carries that power. It arrives not to comfort you, but to awaken you. It whispers that what you cling to is exactly what keeps you asleep. When the clock moves toward midnight, something inside you stirs. You feel the pull of the past, the stories, the disappointments, the versions of yourself you no longer want to be. You feel how heavy they have become. This is not punishment. It is recognition. The mind shows you what you must let go of. The midnight of 13th and 14th October does not ask you to fight those feelings. It asks you to see them clearly. Awareness is the first step toward release. You cannot let go of what you refuse to see. Letting go means giving up the illusion that you can control everything. It means releasing the need to hold your pain tightly just because it feels familiar. You have built walls around yourself made of fear, regret, and the desire to be understood. But walls that protect also imprison. When you let them fall, at first there is emptiness. But in that emptiness, freedom is born. The midnight teaches this silently. The darkness around you is not empty space. It is space for renewal. You must clear what is old to make room for what is waiting. The midnight of 13th and 14th October holds a strange peace. It is the kind of peace that comes after surrender. When you stop fighting, the energy inside you shifts. The struggle turns into flow. You begin to see that holding on to pain doesn't preserve you. It limits you. Every thought you cling to becomes a chain. Every emotion you refuse to release becomes weight. Letting go is not forgetting. It is understanding that you cannot grow if you stay where you fell. Growth happens when you allow yourself to move forward, even if the path is uncertain. This midnight is your reminder that nothing new can enter your life until you release what is blocking it. You cannot receive light if your hands are full of shadows. So breathe. With every breath out, imagine releasing the heaviness that no longer belongs to you. Let the midnight carry it away. Let it dissolve into the silence. You do not have to know what comes next. You only need to create space for it. In the quiet of this hour, the truth becomes simple. Life is always changing. Everything that clings to permanence eventually breaks. The pain comes not from change itself, but from resisting it. When you let go, you begin to flow with life instead of against it. You learn to trust the natural rhythm of existence. The rise and fall, the loss and renewal, the ending and beginning. The midnight of 13 and 14 October is the perfect symbol of this rhythm. One day ends, another begins, yet in between there is silence, a moment of transformation that cannot be seen but can be felt. Letting go is not about erasing the past, it is about forgiving it. You do not need to destroy what once was, you only need to accept it for what it taught you. Every loss, every mistake, and every moment of pain shaped you into the person who now stands ready to awaken. The midnight reminds you that what you thought was lost is not gone. It has simply changed form. The strength, the wisdom, the clarity you once buried under grief or anger is still there, waiting to rise again once you release the weight covering it. As the night deepens, listen closely. The silence is speaking. It says you are not your past, you are not your fears, you are not the stories that others told about you. You are awareness itself, capable of renewal at any moment. The midnight of 13th and 14th of October offers you that moment, the space between who you were and who you can be. Step into that space without fear. The darkness may seem endless, but within it lies light. This is the truth of letting go. It is not the end, it is the beginning. When you release attachment, when you surrender the need to control outcomes, you return to your natural state of balance. You stop fighting against life and begin moving with it. The world outside may remain the same, but inside you everything shifts. You begin to see possibilities instead of limits, lessons instead of failures, freedom instead of fear. So as the midnight of 13th and 14th of October passes through your life, allow yourself to empty out. Let every breath remind you that holding on only delays your own peace. What you lose in this letting go is not truly loss. It is purification. It is making space for awareness, for growth, for clarity. You do not need to rush, you do not need to force. Just allow. The process of release is quiet, but its impact is infinite. When you finally stop gripping what no longer serves you, you realize that what remains is unshakable. Peace, strength, presence, these do not need to be found, they reappear the moment you stop clinging. This midnight is your invitation to awaken that hidden strength, to let go of the stories that weigh you down, to breathe into your own becoming. The darkness will fade, but the calm it leaves behind will stay. The midnight of 13th and 14th October will remind you that every ending carries the seed of a new beginning, and that in letting go, you do not lose yourself, you find yourself again. The midnight of 13th and 14th October is a turning point of awareness. It is the hour when the world becomes still enough for you to truly see. Awareness is not something you need to search for. It is already within you, waiting beneath the noise. When the clock moves past midnight, everything unnecessary begins to fade. The distractions, the constant noise, the illusions that keep you blind. What remains is clarity, pure, silent awareness. This is the essence of transformation. You cannot change what you do not see. You cannot grow if you remain unaware of what keeps you small. The stillness of this midnight is not emptiness, it is presence. It invites you to open your eyes inwardly and to observe the life that moves through you. Awareness is the key that unlocks the door between reaction and understanding. Without awareness, and you live on autopilot, repeating the same patterns, trapped in the same emotions, telling yourself the same stories. But when awareness awakens, you begin to see how your thoughts shape your world. You begin to notice the tension in your body, the rhythm of your breath, the endless movement of your mind. That noticing is the beginning of freedom. At the midnight of 13th and 14th October, everything slows down enough for truth to surface. You become aware of how easily your energy is scattered, pulled by fears, drained by comparison, consumed by distractions. Awareness is the light that exposes all of this. It does not judge, it simply reveals. It shows you how much power you lose by living unconsciously. It reminds you that awareness itself is power, the power to choose your response instead of being controlled by emotion, the power to act with purpose instead of habit. When awareness deepens, you begin to realize that most of what troubles you comes from within, not from the world around you. The external chaos is only a reflection of internal confusion. Awareness brings order. It allows you to see that peace is not the absence of problems, but the presence of understanding. The midnight of 13th and 14th October holds that understanding in silence. It gives you the opportunity to sit quietly with yourself and observe what truly matters. This is where transformation starts not by changing the outside, but by seeing the inside clearly. Awareness requires honesty. It demands that you stop lying to yourself about what you feel, what you want, and what you avoid. It asks you to look directly at your habits, your patterns, your choices. These can feel uncomfortable because awareness exposes everything, not only the light but also the shadows. But the purpose of awareness is not to make you feel guilty, it is to wake you up. You cannot heal what you refuse to see. You cannot rise if you keep your eyes closed. This midnight gives you the courage to open your inner eyes and see your life as it truly is. There is something sacred about this time, and the air is heavy with stillness, and within that stillness, you begin to sense the pulse of life, quiet, rhythmic, eternal. You feel connected to something deeper than thought. That feeling is awareness. Not thinking about life, but experiencing it directly. When you live in awareness, even the simplest moment becomes profound. Every breath becomes a reminder that you are here, alive and capable of change. The midnight of 13th and 14th October teaches you that awareness is not an idea, it is a practice. It must be lived, not spoken about. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you breathe before speaking, every time you notice your thoughts instead of drowning in them, you are practicing awareness. Over time, awareness transforms your life quietly but completely. You begin to respond instead of react. You begin to act from clarity instead of confusion. You begin to move through life consciously, aware of your choices, aware of your energy, aware of your direction. In awareness, you stop fighting reality. You start to see that everything, the good, the bad, the painful, the peaceful, is part of the same flow. Resistance creates suffering. Awareness creates freedom. When you become aware, you stop being controlled by the storms of emotion. The midnight of 13th and 14th October shows you that awareness is not cold or distant. It is alive, compassionate, and wise. It allows you to observe your pain without becoming your pain, to see your fear without being trapped by it. This awareness is not something you need to earn. It is your natural state. You were born with it. But over time, it was buried under layers of noise, distraction, and self-doubt. The purpose of this midnight is to bring you back to the awareness that watches without judgment, listens without fear, and understands without effort. When you reconnect with that awareness, life becomes lighter. Decisions become simpler. Peace becomes natural. The midnight of 13th and 14th October is your reminder that awareness is the beginning of mastery. Awareness does not solve your problems directly. It dissolves the confusion that created them. It gives you the vision to see clearly, the wisdom to act rightly, and the calmness to stay balanced. You no longer live as a victim of circumstance, but as a conscious participant in life. So let this midnight teach you to be aware of your thoughts, your breath, your choices, your presence. Let it awaken the observer within you, the one who is calm even when life is stormy, silent even when the world is loud. That awareness is your anchor. It will keep you steady through every change, through every challenge. The night may be dark, but awareness is the light that never fades. As the midnight of 13th and 14th October passes, carry this awareness with you. Let it be the foundation of your growth. Let it guide your actions, shape your energy, and lead your transformation. In awareness, you will find freedom. In freedom, you will find peace. And in peace, you will finally remember who you truly are, awake, present, and fully alive. The midnight of 13th and 14th October is the moment of quiet rebirth. It arrives without sound, without warning, and yet its presence can be felt deeply within. It carries the stillness of ending and the promise of beginning. It marks the turning point where everything you thought was lost starts to awaken again. This is not a poetic idea, it is a real experience. When you are awake enough to notice it, this midnight becomes a mirror. It shows you that purpose is never gone, only hidden beneath layers of distraction, fear, and exhaustion. It shows you that calm is not something to find, but something to return to. As this midnight unfolds, a gentle realization starts to surface. You have not lost yourself, you have only forgotten. The noise of the world made you believe that peace is somewhere else, that fulfillment is somewhere far away. But in truth, everything you seek already exists within you, waiting for the right silence to be heard. The midnight of 13th and 14th of October carries that silence. It invites you to stop searching and to start remembering. It is in this remembering that a new kind of calm rises, not the calm that depends on circumstances, but the calm that stands even when everything else shakes. This hour teaches that purpose does not appear in grand moments. It comes quietly, through awareness, through acceptance, through presence. As you sit in the stillness of midnight, you begin to see the truth of your own path. The mistakes, the losses, the delays, they were never random. They were shaping you, preparing you, refining you for this moment. Every fall carved space for strength. Every silence prepared you for clarity. The midnight of 13th and 14th October reminds you that even your pain had purpose. Every experience was part of your awakening. When you stop resisting and begin to trust this process, life changes. The heaviness that once felt endless begins to lift. The mind becomes lighter. The heart becomes open again. This is what rebirth feels like, not an explosion of joy, but a slow unfolding of peace. A quiet acceptance that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do, learning exactly what you were meant to learn. In that acceptance, calm is born. The midnight teaches that peace is not found in control, it is found in surrender. As the world sleeps, this midnight asks you to awaken, not physically, but spiritually. To awaken to the truth that you are not defined by what you have lost or by what others see. You are defined by your awareness, by your willingness to keep growing, by your courage to begin again. The midnight of 13th and 14th October is not about endings. It is about transformation. The old self fades out like a shadow, and from that shadow, the light of a new beginning emerges. You do not need to force this process. You only need to allow it. This is the teaching hidden within the silence. Growth does not rush. Awareness does not demand. Purpose does not shout. All of it unfolds in its own rhythm, like night giving way to dawn. The midnight between 13th and 14th October holds that rhythm. It is the space between what was and what will be. When you sit within that space without fear, something beautiful happens. The heart softens, the mind clears, the soul begins to breathe again. You feel an inner stability rising, not from the outside world, but from deep within your own being. You begin to realize that calm is strength. It is not passivity. It is power under control. It is the ability to stand still in the middle of chaos and remain centered. The midnight of 13th and 14th of October reminds you of this inner discipline. The quiet mastery of energy, the steady awareness of purpose. When you cultivate calm, you no longer chase meaning, you radiate it. You no longer beg life to give you direction, you walk with direction in every step. This is what rebirth means. The return of inner certainty, the quiet knowing that you are guided even when the path is unclear. In the silence of this night, you can feel the pulse of something greater moving through you. It is life itself flowing, renewing, awakening what was asleep. The energy of this midnight asks nothing of you except presence. To simply be here, aware of your breath, aware of your heart, aware of the space between your thoughts. In that awareness, you begin to sense a connection to everything. To the earth beneath you, to the air around you, to the invisible current of life that never stops moving. This connection is purpose. It is peace. It is home. The midnight of 13 and 14 October is your reminder that every ending is a preparation for renewal. Even when you feel lost, you are not lost. You are being redirected. Even when you feel still, you are not stagnant. You are being refined. Transformation is not always visible. Sometimes it happens quietly, like the slow rise of dawn that no one notices until the light fills the sky. That is how rebirth works, slowly, silently, but completely. So let this midnight be the moment you stop resisting change and begin to trust the quiet movement within you. Let it be the night when you remember that everything you need to awaken is already inside you. The calm you seek is not found through force, but through surrender. The purpose you search for is not out there. It is within the awareness that you are alive, breathing, and capable of becoming more. As the midnight of 13th and 14th of October passes, something within you shifts. The fear softens, the mind clears, the heart opens. What was once hidden begins to rise. You begin to feel alive again. Not because something new appeared, but because you finally became aware of what was always there. This is the awakening the night promises, the rebirth of calm, the return of purpose, and the remembrance that nothing within you was ever truly lost. It was only waiting for you to see it again.